4CG, man, you know how the fuck we rockin', man. Four corner glow game, man. You know how the fuck I'm bumming, man. You know I'm coming, man.
So back to what you were saying about Jay-Z and basically, if your opinion, if you thought that, I would say the allegations of him shooting at you or shooting you, basically the rumors going around that's been going on all platforms. What's your personal opinion on that? And do you feel that way about it as well? All right, so we back into, we got another interview. We got Ronnie Bo back on the GloCartel platform. Basically, he's here to shed some light on a couple situations that's been going on in the industry, a lot of which y'all well known about R. Kelly and other allegations as well as with Jay-Z. Ronnie Bo, before we start with those allegations, can you first introduce yourself to the platform?
Ronnie Bo, son of God, book author, a hip-hop recording artist, and that just about sums it up for me.
Real shit, real shit. Yeah, so I reached out and looked back on some of your stuff, and I did notice, like, in the industry, a lot of people have been picking up your story, I would say. I've noticed, like, people like Nino Brown and other platforms have picked up your story in terms of your situation when you was locked up with R. Kelly.
For sure.
But that being said, like, if you don't mind asking, how long was you locked up with R. Kelly for?
Well, I came to MCC Chicago, June of 2019. He came like a month or two after me. And then I left MCC Chicago in May of 2021.
Okay.
So between that whole time, you know, he was there. So I guess you could say that's about 2 years we was in the same building together.
Damn.
And for a period of that time, we was actually on the same unit together on Unit 19. He did most of his time there on Unit 19. I was kind of like unit to unit, you know, different situations, some related to COVID. One time going to what they call the shoe in the feds, which y'all probably know as the hole. Yep. I went to the hole for refusing to go in the cell with an 85-year-old man who was dying. This was during the COVID pandemic, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to have no homicide on my record. You know, when somebody died in a cell with you, the first thing that they speculate is you killed them. So I went to the hole just for that. That was the only time I went to the hole, the shoe, or whatever you want to call it. And then when I got out the shoe, they put me on Unit 19 where R. Kelly was at.
Man. So when you was in the same unit as R. Kelly, I'm assuming like the fans want to know, especially me as well, and just anyone who's anyone. So does R. Kelly get the same type of respect, I would say, in jail in terms of the politics coming to place? Where does he stand? Because I'm assuming a super celebrity, you know what I'm saying, in the pods probably got the heads turning. I'm assuming there definitely must be how do I say, definitely someone that has the money, the bag. And knowing his situation and allegations, I feel like he must have been treated differently from his status.
Not really. You know, in the feds, of course, everybody in the feds wasn't rich, but you meet a lot of people in the feds who was rich, people who was somebody. So he wasn't the only somebody. You know, I consider myself somebody. It was cartel, like El Chapo people was there. You know what I mean? His a lot of members from his cartel dynasty was there. You know, and in particular, his nephew Chewy was there, and Chewy was in there for like $2 billion of tax evasion or money laundering or something like that. So you got to think people who that big, you know, not really looking at R. Kelly as somebody that big, you know, and it was a few people in there like that who was there. So he didn't really stand out that much to us, you know, because of his fame. But I know what you probably getting at with, with regards to him having allegations of being a pedophile or whatever,
Correct.
Pedophiles really ain't safe in there, but we really didn't feed into that. Like I looked at him as another influential Black man who's framed, by the secret government, and I convinced a lot of other inmates in there to look at him the same. You know what I mean? So we never really looked down on him because of his allegations, and most of us didn't really believe that he was guilty of that. So he didn't really have the type of problems most pedophiles have in the feds, as far as getting treated, getting your food took, getting beat up, and all that. He didn't really have them problems, and believe it or not, we looked at him as just another one of us, really. You know what I'm saying? We had love for him. He was a humorous guy. You could tell he was stressed out certain times, certain days, but he kept a lot of us laughing. You know what I mean? He pretty much stayed in good spirit. Sometimes he'd come from out of nowhere singing one of his songs, and everybody would just get to laugh. Even the COs, the guards, or whatever. He was amongst us. Like a lot of people would think. I don't even see people comment and say, well, if you was on the same unit as R. Kelly, then y'all both was on protected custody. Like even to this day, R. Kelly is not on protected custody where he at. Now, when he first came, for like the first 1 or 2, he was, because, security measures, they know what happened to pedophiles. And of course, everybody knew what type of case he had. So the security staff had to protect him. And they felt like, well, if we let you on a unit in general population with them guys, then something might happen to you. So we're gonna put you on protected custody. But a lot of us, especially me being a book author, I wanted him on general population so I could chop it up with him, and I wanted to write a book about him on his side of the story. So I was one of the guys like pushing for him to get on general population. And I wasn't the only one, so eventually he felt comfortable about being on general population, and he had his lawyer put the paperwork in, and from there he was on general population with us. Except for, he went back to the shoe, the hole, or whatever, and that's, people on protected custody or whatever, and disciplinary people who can't follow rules. Y'all are basically in the hole, just for different reasons. So he had went back to the hole. This guy named Jeremiah Farmer had, beat him up or whatever, you know what I mean? So he, it's standard procedure to go to the hole, whether you the one that got your ass whooped, or you the one who did the whooping. You know what I mean? You got to go to the hole for them to investigate. So after they investigated, I say he stayed down there for about a week or 2, and from there he was right back on general population with the rest of it.
Okay, so Kelly did get whooped at least one time, at least that you know of.
Yeah, but it ain't like what people think. Like he was just getting treated and people were just standing on him. No, it wasn't like that. He had one incident, and dude who did it, Farmer, his court date was coming up. He was going for sentencing. He got found guilty on 2 murders. A lot of people in there said he just wanted some publicity. Even he himself said he wanted to draw some media attention to his case. So he said he did that to R. Kelly so that he could be in the media, and then he can expose the government for how they basically framed him and the rest of the Latin Kings in the indictment. Because the Latin Kings had a real bogus case in there. Not that they was innocent, but the person who was supposed to be the leader in their indictment was actually working for the government as an informant. And so he was calling hits. And this a government agent basically calling hits, telling go kill dude and kill dude. You know what I mean? So that law, like legally, they wasn't supposed to be indicted because how y'all gonna indict all these members and not indict the government agent who was calling the hits? You know what I mean?
Facts. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, the dude farmer basically was he was on the Latin King indictment and he wanted to draw attention to their case, and for whatever reason he just felt like putting hands on R. Kelly would get him the attention that he wanted, and he kind of did, I guess.
So backtracking back to when you said R. Kelly got back into general population. Once he got into general population, did you get to have any conversations with him in terms of even? I remember we spoke before we did the interview off camera. In terms of him getting to tell his side of the story, what was his view on that, or response when you gave him that offer or opportunity?
Well, he was kind of skeptical about it. R. Kelly been through some stuff. The closest people in his life went against him. I'm talking about everything from stealing money to allowing the government to coerce them to say that he was involved in pedophile activity. And I'm talking about the closest people in his life. So he didn't really know what I was on. You know what I mean? I could have been somebody who was trying to set him up. I could have been somebody trying to extort him and force him into a contract, against his will, and tell a bogus story that he didn't tell me. So I had to understand that and I had to respect that. You know what I mean? We had multiple talks about doing the book, but he was still skeptical about it, like the whole time. He didn't know me from Adam or Eve before being in MCC Chicago, so he didn't know if he can trust me. Once he signed a contract, I could have said, yeah, he told me that he had sex with multiple 14-year-olds or something and made his situation worse. And then it was an incident where I felt like, I really wanted to do the book with him, so
yeah,
to, basically like let him know that I'm a real one. I had the GDs, go holler at them and let them know, because in the feds, we gotta abide by certain policies and principles. You know what I mean? And
the politics.
A lot of it is gang related. Not that I'm still a gang member for the record, because I know the feds still watching me, trying to find whatever reason they can use against me. They might want to say I'm still a member of the GDs to indict me, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm retired from that lifestyle, but yeah, how the politics go. You can't be on general population if you're a rat or none of that. So I basically that was my approach. I just wanted them to let him know, like, look, he one of us, and he ain't don't know nothing funny. You know what I mean? He really just want to do this book with you and get your side of the story out there. And then that turned bad because people was making jokes saying like, I sent the GDs to extort him, and the little joke turned into a rumor. So they kind of like separated us once I was on the same unit with him because of those rumors. You know what I mean? Like, dude trying to extort R. Kelly into signing a contract so he can make millions off of him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it probably was in my best interest too to be moved after that, because I could have got a whole nother case for extortion. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man. And like going forward too with that, like, so it sounds like at least you got to have some one-on-one conversations time to time periodically, even if it wasn't for a long time. Over that period of time, did you get to at least tell him about your journalism or show him your novels in that sense?
Yeah, he had a copy of my book. I used to joke with him a lot because I was already hearing the rumors that he can't read, and he just illiterate and all that. So I'm like, basically like, nigga, come on. I'm a fan of your music. You ain't never putting these songs together like this if you can't read. And then like you so articulate with it, like you gotta be able to know how to read, but you know, it basically got to the point like I ain't gonna say he really just can't read. It's just he really not that he really ain't good with understanding. Basically, you know what I mean?
Like he's dyslexic or something.
Yeah, that's another thing I found out through some of his close supporters, and this was after I got out. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking he just playing a role, even with me. You know what I'm saying? I understand if you playing a role because they got you in some bogus contracts and you trying to get your way out. So I'm thinking like, come on, bro, I understand that, but you ain't gonna tell me you can't read. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I found out that he really got some issues as far as being dyslexics or whatever you call that. You know, he have a problem understanding and comprehending certain words or whatever. So I guess that turned out to be true.
Wow, no, that's crazy. And that's something that a lot of people don't know in the industry or fans. That's something that's definitely like a rumor that's been out there. That's nothing that's crazy. Going back forward in that. So back when the thing happened with R. Kelly and you being in the same pod in public populations, the allegations in terms of him getting in trouble with the music industry, that I really want to touch upon in terms of with Jay-Z. And I want to ask you, where does Jay-Z play a part in this? Because I feel like a lot of people in the industry, especially in the hip hop and Chirac culture, don't understand that there's levels and volumes to this so-called industry.
Yeah, when you are Kelly, you don't reach the highest heights of success that you can go in that industry, really. Yeah. So anybody who know anything about the inner workings of that industry, if once you hit that R. Kelly level, you got to know something. You got to know whether this is true or false. And just like it wasn't just me. If you was in a cell or locked up with R. Kelly, that would cross your mind. You would want to know, like, so bro, these rumors, Illuminati, is that stuff real? Do y'all really gotta sacrifice loved ones, or do they really come at you to do like some, humiliating things as far as selling your soul and like sexual humiliation? These gay industry executives, do they really try to force you into having sex with them? And people be really want to know that. So I want the only one who wanted to know that. I always had a passion for music myself. I had my ups and downs in the industry myself. Of course, I never reached the level he reached, but I was always curious because I always wanted to reach that level. And I wasn't the only one. You had a lot of people who wanted to know, like, how's Jay-Z? Did he have to sell his soul? Or, just the craziest questions cross your mind, especially when you locked up and you ain't got nothing to do and you in there with somebody like R. Kelly, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we wanted to know what go on in the industry. And, of course, everybody knew that he was affiliated with Jay-Z at one point. They did 2 albums together. They went on tour together. So, I asked him certain questions about Jay-Z, about his character and, do you think he'd sell out? All those type of questions, you know what I mean? And, I was kind of shocked about some of the things that he revealed. And a lot of other people in there was shocked, you know what I mean? He told me certain things and he told other people certain things, but when you locked up, all rumors gonna come to light, you know what I mean? So it was people coming back telling me things that R. Kelly told them, you know what I'm saying? And he told me certain things, you know what I mean? And, you know, of course, everybody was going to ask him about Jay-Z. You know, Jay-Z is Jay-Z. He one of probably the biggest name, the most successful black person in that industry, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Now, in terms of when I would say, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is too, is R. Kelly and Jay-Z at one point both was talking to that girl at one point, not at the same time, but at different periods.
Yeah, Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand the history behind that led up to right now.
Yeah, I mean, see, R. Kelly, not just based on what he told me, but if you look at when Aaliyah was interviewed about R. Kelly, she always confirmed that they never had no sexual relations.
Yeah.
And what R. Kelly told me himself, and what you know, his closest associates told me, you know, he just basically was her mentor, and the whole rumor about him being with Aaliyah, marrying her, having sex with her, you know, the marriage thing was a publicity stunt. You know, I explained that in multiple other interviews. You know, Aaliyah manager Barry Hankerson was also Aaliyah's uncle, and you know, to get her a bigger name, you know, in the game, you know, he came up with publicity stunt to say, we're gonna say that you marry R. Kelly. And it was a good publicity stunt, you know, like I explained in multiple other interviews. If I was to marry Ice Spice right now, you know, a lot of people know who Ronnie Bo is, a lot of people don't. But if I was to marry Ice Spice right now, everybody gonna know who Ronnie Bo is. Everybody gonna want to look more into what Ronnie Bo got going on. And it was the same thing with Aaliyah. She wasn't as big as R. Kelly at the time, but once they put the publicity stunt out that she married him, then she came damn near as big as R. Kelly at the time, man. You know, she had the hits to go behind it, which he wrote for her, and she became a megastar. So, I mean, it makes sense that it was a publicity stunt. And, you know, the rumors about him marrying her never really was proven. You know, they came up with a marriage certificate, but if you ask anybody who married to see their marriage certificate, it was signed. You know, their marriage certificate wasn't signed by R. Kelly or Aaliyah, so that obviously wasn't a real marriage certificate. You know, no real marriage certificate existed to prove that he was married to her.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So back to that, so Aaliyah's, so this is stuff that even this is new to me. I never knew that Aaliyah's uncle was her manager. People don't even know that much information about that. And it being I could see how that could make sense. Now,
and another thing, not to cut you off, but when she died, he received $90 million, you know, from an insurance policy that he had on her. So, you know, even that's skeptical. You know, maybe he arranged that. You know, but we ain't got to get too much off into that. You know, but yeah, what you was gonna say though?
Going forward with that now, with Aaliyah, like I said, being with R. Kelly and having that, and then once she went over to Jay-Z, now I feel like once she ended, now we get back to the allegations with R. Kelly. Did R. Kelly mention to you or ever by any chance think that he's ever going to be able to get out of jail? Was that ever a thought, or has that ever came up in the conversations when you was in the pod with him?
He definitely had faith that he was going to get out. And
that's good.
It wasn't just his faith, but his case is really bogus and corrupt. You know, whether he did it or not, you know, I really don't believe he did, you know, most of what they saying he did, but whether he did it or not, you know, you can't, you know, whether I killed somebody or not, you know what I mean? You have to be able to prove that.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to prove it by law. His case was never proven legally by legal standards, you know what I mean? And it's corrupt, so it shows that he was targeted, and the government is behind framing him, you know, and everybody who conscious know that the government has direct ties to the music industry. You know, they use music to influence people to do the most degrading things, even as far as killing people. You know what I mean? They, like Dirk even mentioned how a label tried to pay him to beef with another rapper. Yeah. And that's what they, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't know this, but when you a gangster rapper and you get a deal, your label wants you to either pick somebody to beef with, or they gonna pick somebody for you to beef with. Because not just because they gonna tell you because it sells records, but it's really they want to be able to influence our culture to beef with each other, to kill each other. You know what I mean? Right. And the government officials who have their money in the music industry, they know exactly what they doing. You know what I mean? Like when Jeezy wanted to start rapping about more political and inspirational things, he suddenly got charged with a murder. You know, they wanted Jeezy to continue to influence us to sell drugs and glorify it. You know what I mean? They didn't want him talking about the political stuff, change the world type of stuff that Tupac was talking about, you know, because they know that could have had a positive impact on our culture. And a lot of people don't think that deep into it, but if the people who our youth look up to is always rapping about switches on their Glocks and killing people and selling drugs, that's going to influence our youth to run around here with switches, which could get you 15 to life in prison. It's going to influence you to kill the person who you into it with. You know what I'm saying? It's going to influence you to sell drugs, and you know those motives lead to you being incarcerated. So they benefit off the music and they benefit off the incarceration rate. You know what I mean?
So since you've been out, I've noticed that you've had a couple articles also written about you, and also as well, you had a song for Free R. Kelly. I wonder if you want to speak on that. Now, in terms of that, is that something that you spoke to him previously before you put it out? And was that song inspired for him, I would say, or because of him?
Well, when they separated us, you know, I got a chance to have a deep talk with him, you know, and this is God is my witness. I would never lie on God. You know what I mean? Some people say I'm clout chasing or I'm making up these things, but God is my witness. You know, I had a deep talk with him before they separated us. I told him, you know, I knew I would be getting out, you know, of course, way before him. And I promised him, bro, I'm going to let the world know what they doing to you. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I got you, you know. I appreciated him for, you know, a lot of the discussions that we had that enlightened me. You know, I really empathize with his situation, you know, and you know, I'm a strong dude and a solid dude, but to be honest, bro, I really cried to myself one time about his situation, and it's because, you know, just the history of how they do our people, and this go back from slavery, bro. Like our people went through some very traumatic, and I'm talking about the worst of the worst. I'm talking about, bro, from them breeding us like animals. Like if you had good genetics, they would force you to have sex with even your sister, your mama, you know, your auntie, just to breed you like how dogs is being bred. And then leading up to, you know, current affairs, like look how they did Mike Tyson when he became a major celebrity. They put the rape charges on him. You know, they put the rape charges on Tupac. They put the rape charges on Kobe Bryant. They put the rape charges on Michael Jackson. Like, it's a pattern. So I just felt like people should be catching on and to actually be sitting amongst one of them. Like I didn't do time with Tupac or Tyson or Michael Jackson, but I did time with R. Kelly. And I seen his case, you know, I mean, I seen the injustices of his case. I seen the pain in his eyes of what he was going through. And just knowing like you can't really like be what you want to be in America as a Black man without facing these circumstances. So that really bothered me, you know. So, you know, I really wanted to, you know, with me being a book author and a songwriter myself, through it and just knowing what you heard that?
Say it again.
No, did you just hear that? I don't know if that was on your end. It said recording in progress.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
But no, but just seeing what he was going through, you know what I'm saying, and knowing what our people been through, you know, just as a whole, you know, we all got goals and dreams, and it's like even when we do it the positive way, you know, Big Meech did his thing in a way that, you know, society would look at as the wrong way. I don't look at it that way, you know, because I know the struggles of the streets. But even when you do it the way that society consider the right way and legitimately, as a Black man, you still have to face those circumstances to where you could still do life in prison on being framed by the government and go through modern day slavery all over again. You know what I mean? So I basically just promised him, bro, you know, I know how they trying to convince the world to look at you, but I don't look at you that way. And I'm gonna shine some light on this, and, you know, I'm gonna change the narrative. I gave him that word, and, you know, through the grace of God and through the gift that God gave me, I've been able to do that. You know, it's even surprising to me myself to see how effective I've been on changing the narrative on how people look at R. Kelly, and how, you know, I got people in my inbox, and people like Nino Brown. There's somebody who was signed to DJ Khaled. You know what I mean? People like him saying, I think Jay-Z has something to do with you getting shot, you know, publicizing this. Yeah. So it's drawing a lot of attention to my situation, R. Kelly's situation. And you know, with that attention, you know, you got to do the right thing with it once you get it. You know, once you got hundreds of thousands of people or even millions of people looking at you, you know, and you got some knowledge, God done trained you, and you know, you done met a lot of powerful people and learned, and you know, you got the light. You know, you got to shine that light on the people to let our people know what's really going on. So, yeah. You know, I just want people to really, like, I'm not saying R. Kelly is just totally innocent. You know, we all have imperfections. You know, the only perfect person in history who they said was perfect was Jesus. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that he just totally innocent, but if he was guilty of anything, I think he already did way more time for anything that he guilty of. You know, so he definitely don't deserve to be doing those 30 years, because a lot of the things that people think that he is locked up for, he wasn't even charged with, or he wasn't convicted of. The man is charged with a one-man RICO, which never happened in world history. So it shows that his case is corrupt. You know what I mean?
So last question before we wrap it up. I know you said that everyone's been talking about saying how they feel like Jay-Z was part of the reason you got shot. Do you feel like that?
Well, to be honest, I've been denying the rumors, and for the first time, I'm gonna go on and do this for your platform and let people know. But before I got shot, you know, I released a book called Method to the Free R. Kelly Madness, to basically explain why I'm speaking out for him. And in that book, I exposed Jay-Z. And in that book, I also revealed it. I had already been getting death threats. You know, a lot of times, you know, I'm thinking people playing on my phone. You know, I done got threats telling me keep Jay-Z name out your mouth. And I just laugh like, there's somebody playing on my phone. You know, they hearing about the publicity. They probably got my number from this book or this article and they want to play on my phone. So when it happened, of course, it crossed my mind like, damn, did this come from Jay-Z? But me being who I am, I just didn't want to blame another black man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a rat. So if he did have something to do with it, and I know he has something to do with it, I don't want to publicize that. You know, I'm a gangster, so I deal with situations like that different. You know what I mean? I'm not going to publicize it and say, yeah, Jay-Z, I know he has something to do with me getting shot. Even if I wanted to go the Tupac route and get publicity off of it, yes, I could do that. But at the time, I didn't want to publicize that. You know, I didn't want to go about it that way. I didn't want to handle my situation like that. But it's definitely a good chance that he did. And I guess it won't even sound outrageous right now for me admitting this, because you got people like Nino Brown who's saying, I think Jay-Z has something to do with it. Somebody who is so close to Jay-Z that, you know, he was signed to DJ Khaled, who has close ties like this with Jay-Z. So when people that close to Jay-Z is saying that we think he has something to do with it, you know, you got to look into that. It's reasons why they saying this, and other platforms is saying that. So,
right.
I mean, do I think he has something to do with it? To be honest, bro, yeah, you know. But like I said, I didn't want to publicize that because I don't want no government agents coming to me saying, so where did you get these death threats from? Because really they could have had something to do with it. And that's why I've been blaming it on. I sued the government in the International Court of Justice. I have a major lawsuit against the United States government. And I had already won a lawsuit against the DEA, a federal agency. So they could have had something to do with it. And you know, another thing that I previously revealed, Desiree Perez is a government agent, and she is the CEO of Roc Nation. So Jay-Z has ties like this with the government. So that's why.
All right, so back to what you were saying about Jay-Z, and basically, if your opinion, if you thought that, I would say the allegations of him shooting at you or shooting you, basically the rumors going around that's been going on all platforms. What's your personal opinion on that? And do you feel that way about it as well?
Well, yeah, for sure. Like I was explaining, I never just wanted to blame one single individual. You know what I mean? I didn't want to put that out in the public like that. You know, like I was pointing the finger at Jay-Z because it's so much going on. Like they obviously trying to silence me. They silence people like me by any means, whether you already in the industry or anybody who got a voice who could expose what they doing. And like I was just explaining, you know, Desiree Perez is the CEO of Roc Nation, and she is a known DEA informant, agent, or whatever you want to call her. So, you know, it just shows the type of handlers that they put on people. Like even Kanye West, you know, his handler was like a psychologist who, you know, was like a government special agent or something, you know. And you know, when Kanye West exposed dude, he showed his text messages where he was basically threatening Kanye West and saying, look, you gonna sit down and talk to me and stop doing what you're doing, or I'm gonna have you sent back to the mental hospital. They gonna dope you up so bad this time, you know, your life with your kids will never be the same. You know, and Jay-Z ain't no different. His handler is a DEA agent or informant or whatever you call it. So of course he has direct ties with the government. And that's why I blamed the government. I didn't want to blame Jay-Z. You know, I didn't want to just point the finger and say, yeah, Jay-Z has something to do with me getting shot. Do I believe that? I mean, it's quite obvious now. And like I said, it don't sound so outrageous with me admitting this, because you got somebody like Nino Brown, who was signed to DJ Khaled, and everybody know how close DJ Khaled and Jay-Z is. You know, he came out saying this. You know, he the one that first publicized it and made it go viral that Jay-Z has something to do with me getting shot. So if somebody that close to the industry believe this, then it's a reason why. You know, that even convinced me more that Jay-Z has something to do with me getting shot. And you know, everybody, if they look into the song, the book, and other interviews that I'm exposing Jay-Z and the government, it's obvious why. You know, I'm not the first person who they tried to silence and took drastic measures to silence. You know, I won't be the last. You know what I mean? But it's obvious why.
Yeah. And this, and as well as your other books that you wrote, the specific thing with Jay-Z, you've already basically spoke about that allegation. You've already basically written about in your book about how you blame the government. And with that being said, do you think the government plays a big role in the music industry in terms of that?
Yeah, I think I covered that pretty thoroughly, you know, and I don't think it's so much of a secret. You know, Farrakhan, once I heard him speak out on it before, other influential Black men, that how the government, you know, they basically own and operate the music industry, and it's to influence our culture to continue to sell drugs. It influenced the young ladies to, you know, sell their body, be thoughts, gold diggers. It you know, influenced the young man to sell drugs and kill everybody who you into it with. So, you know, they could basically keep us in jail, keep our families at a dysfunction. You know, you can't really raise the youth to be the type of men and women that we need to be when you know, your mama a prostitute and your daddy in the street selling drugs. You know, it's gonna be obvious dysfunction going on there, and that's really the goal of the overall agenda. You know, just to keep us and our youth at a dysfunction, so we can never really come to power, and they can always control us.
Wow. Oh man, so I think going forward, like from what I got from this, I feel like you being with R. Kelly, I think is probably the most that any interviewer has gotten from R. Kelly since he's been locked up. And I think that this is more of a realistic, real approach, because the simple fact is that not a lot of people get that first come first contact with him. And the fact that you got to share that same, if I'm correct, is it a pod or you shared the same cell?
No, a lot of these bloggers been saying that I was his cellmate, and you know how that go. It be for clickbait. You know, I guess I was seen more like an insider if they could say that I was his cellmate, but we was never in the same cell. We was definitely on the same unit for a period of time, and we was definitely in the same building for about 2 years.
Man. Well, we're about to wrap it up, Ronnie. Shout out to the fans. Is anyone you would like to shout out before we wrap it up?
Shout out all my closest supporters. Shout out Ronnie Bo Jr. Shout out my brother Popl. Shout out Cash Ball. Shout out Media and the whole It's Just Money label. You know, 007, Lil Splash. And even shout out to Nino Brown for you know, at first I didn't want that to be publicized, but now I see the light in it. And so shout out to Nino Brown for publicizing, you know, the fact that he believed Jay-Z had something to do with me getting shot. You know what I mean? And that's about it for right now.
Man, that's facts, man. We're glad you have been on the platform. I'm gonna put your link in the bio. All the fans, check out Ronnie Bo. We're gonna put his books right in the bio and his ebooks as well in the description. You can follow him on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and also check out his music as well on Apple Music and Spotify. We'll put all his YouTube links as well in the description. Hit the like button, the notification bell, like, comment, subscribe. We got more content coming soon. Stay posted. We out.